Hi everyone, welcome back to another continuing education check-in. Today we're titling this episode Right Person, Wrong Time. And Sania has mentioned off camera that recently our podcast has been very depressing and sad. So we're going to continue that a little bit. I don't know, maybe it doesn't have to... this one might be a little sad, but I mean, even last week wasn't so sad. We were talking about wingmanning and
last week was really fun.
So
yeah, that's fair.
Now it's time to go back to being
a little sad.
Yeah, and I don't think we got this on camera last time, but Sania gave me a really hard time because I promised her that I would bring matching jerseys for our episode recording, and I never did. And so here we are wearing the jerseys next episode.
Can I just say, as much as I'm wearing this jersey because Ethan remembered to bring it and because I gave him a hard time, but what did you say they're called?
New York abalone.
Yeah, like who wants to support an abalone? The colors are really nice.
Yeah.
And like, again, because you brought it.
Yeah.
But like, I can't go around I can't even remember the name abalone.
Yeah.
It's not something I'd be very proud of.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
So what do you think would be a better name
like
for New York?
Oh.
New York? What the?
No, sorry. Like some kind of easier name. Like the New York...
New York halal cart.
I saw those everywhere in Times Square, actually. Yeah. But I guess you guys, this podcast supports the abalones.
Uh-huh. Well, I will. So this is a good transition into our episode because a lot of times, like whether for us or even people who like we've talked to in the past, like we've been in this situation where we feel like we have been with the right person or they feel like they've been with the right person, but it's like the wrong time. And like the situation is just like off a little bit. And well, I'm just going to assume you've been in this situation.
Ethan, I think, okay, so Ethan has this like really crazy ability to know exactly what we talk about in every single episode. He's like a walking library for Continuing Education podcast. And I'm going to say, do you remember an episode where I was talking to you about having met the right person, but just the timing wasn't right? And I can quote, because my ears can hear you saying it even now. You said, the right person at the wrong time is still the wrong person.
Yeah.
What episode?
Oh, man. You just, like, gave me such high praise. To be honest, I don't know. That's probably going to be between, like, episodes 13 and, like, 17.
Okay. Oh, like that's a pretty small window.
Yeah.
I just said, like, 13 to 22. Okay, guys. So that kind of debunks what we're talking about here today.
Yeah.
But...
You know, my dad has watched this podcast, and I asked him for advice. Like, Dad, do you think there's anything we can improve? And my dad was like, well, sometimes you can get to the point a little quicker. And so that's what we just did. Okay, so Dad, if you're listening, our main point is the right person at the wrong time is still the wrong person. Also, like, the reason why I kind of know, like, what episode is which and, like, when we say certain things is because I listen to our episodes when I'm editing, when I'm making short clips for us to post on social media, but I also listen to it when it comes out again. Yeah. And sometimes even like when I send it to you, like for a first look over in a review, I listen to it again. So
Ethan said he wanted to be our biggest fan.
Yeah.
And so far he has that title, but you guys can steal it away from him.
No way. There's no way. Well, maybe. If you guys are like sickos. But I feel like if we are not our biggest fan, then like why are we doing this? Like, are we even enjoying this? Is this like something that like we've really put thought into? So I think you guys should know that like we love this. Like we've enjoyed this process, and it sucked at some points, and sometimes it's a little frustrating when like what we expect doesn't happen. But I'll speak for myself. Like I've really enjoyed this whole thing.
Yeah, I think it's been great. So even though we gave you guys a conclusion on this episode, we are still going to talk about it if you would like to get into like the nitty gritty. So Ethan, you have met the right person at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I guess, why did you think that they were the right person, and why was the timing not right?
So I don't know if this is like a toxic trait of mine, but a lot of girls that I've liked, like, so I guess in my head I would say that they were the right person at the wrong time. So like going into like, I don't know, serial friend, or you know, at first I was gonna call breadcrumber the right person at the wrong time, but that's just not true.
Yeah.
So like maybe
I would have said it about email cheater too. Don't worry. It's okay.
So why did I feel like this person was the right person? Because this person, I just felt like I connected with her on a different level. Like she really understood what I wanted with my life, and in a way that no one else understands, because she was also like on that path for a while.
Okay.
And then also in terms of like our personalities, we just got along so well. That's why like it felt like she was the right person. I also thought she was like super attractive physically.
Ethan and his physicals.
Yeah. I mean I would probably die on that hill, even though I shouldn't.
Go back to episode 1 to hear all about Ethan's physical preferences.
Yeah, you know, I was talking to someone who like listened to the podcast for the first time recently. We're going into so many tangents today.
Yeah, I know,
but
sorry.
they were saying that like there are some moments in that first episode where they're just like, ugh. And that might have been like one of those times where like, I don't know, we were like saying things to say things. And feel free to go back and watch it. But that is not just like, that's not who I am like overall.
Yeah. Part of this is just we're entertaining everyone, you know?
Yeah. Like we want to do this in a fun way and not be like too serious. What about you, Sania? For someone,
for my right people?
Yeah.
I think I think for me the consistent theme with all the right people wrong time has been, you know, they felt like the right person because of like, you know, that feeling that I'm telling you that you get when you're just like, when you really, really like somebody and they like you back at the same level.
Yeah.
And so it feels equally important to both of you, equally serious for both of you. Seems like you're both going in the same direction. You guys just click, like, you know? Yeah. And then it's always been the wrong time because of external factors. It's like my first relationship, that was wrong timing because COVID happened. Right. We were just separated.
Yeah.
And then we've talked about toe. That one was the wrong timing because I was coming to Berkeley. So like literally like I think he was like my last goodbye before I left like my hometown. Like I was crying. Like his eyes were pretty watery. Like that one was just really heartbreaking. So there's just been like external factors that make it feel like the wrong time. I think if there was like a flaw in our relationship and that caused it to end, that wouldn't feel so much like the wrong time. You know?
Yeah. That's kind of interesting because like all these things are external factors that were out of your control. Like I think for me, those factors were not so much external. It felt like there were things in her life that made it the wrong time.
Okay.
Or like there were things like in my life, like with Houston, that made it the wrong time. Even though she probably thought I was the right person. Right. So I guess it could be either or. Like it could be like one-sided where it's like on one person where the timing is bad, and then
or just the situation you're both in.
Yeah. And I think your situation is way worse because like both people, there's nothing really that you can do with it.
No, that's okay. I used to tell myself that load of bull, but the more I think about it, like if I look back on it and I reflect and like, you know, the more I see like how much work relationships are and what people are willing to keep them, and like I think if it was the real right person, we would have made it work. Like so what if we're, you know, there's COVID, you're far away, I'm far away, like there's FaceTime, there's like a number of things you can do, and like COVID, it did not last so long. Like you could still travel.
So you ended up accepting that this was not the right person.
I mean, now, like when I was in the middle of it, no. Yeah. But now, like it's been like 5-6 years since, and now I'm like, okay, yeah, this
Wow.
was. And like even with Toe, like, yeah, we got very, very close, but like I was back home for Christmas. I was back home for the summer. And I was planning to just move back. I was not planning to live here.
Mm-hmm.
So if we wanted it to work, it could have worked.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's time difference, but it's not that much. That's all like excuses in my mind.
Yeah.
You know? So even in that situation, there was ways that it could have worked.
And I guess like you bring that up, that like applies to like what happened with Houston. So the reason why, or I guess if you guys don't know who Houston is, you should definitely listen to that. That's like episodes 7 through 10. But basically, it was bad timing for me. Like I think she really thought I was the right person.
Yeah.
And there's like many reasons why she thought that. Not just because of me, but just because of her past and her really wanting to be in a relationship. And then it was bad timing because I think I was trying to do so much at that time in my life that I couldn't give her the attention that I felt like she deserved.
Right.
But the thing is, like, if I go off what you just said, if she really was the right person, then I would have found a way.
You would have found a way to make it work.
I don't know, man.
I know you were really busy, but like think about it this way. Like, I'm trying to think of like, okay, for boys, food is so important.
Yeah.
Have you ever skipped dinner 2 days in a row because you're just so busy with all your No. Because you're like, no, dinner is a necessity.
It's true.
And maybe she's not like dinner. Maybe she is not like a meal. She's not as like as a necessity, like the same way as a meal. But like, for example, coming to work, there has been days that I have been so tired, just emotionally drained, physically, like just exhausted, and I do not want to come in.
Yeah.
But I do.
Yeah.
You get up, you put on your clothes, and you go. You know, you can have 2 hours of sleep or you can have 10 hours of sleep, but you know you have to be in the office because you know that this is something you need in your life. Like, talking to my parents, sometimes I really don't have the energy.
Yeah.
And I've been really bad like lately, and I've sometimes not been as consistent about calling them or like calling my grandma, but I know I should be doing it. And so even if I'm super tired, like today I woke up extra early so I could catch her before she goes to sleep because I know that that is something that is important to me, that I would like to maintain, even though I'm moving and like 50 other things are going on, like, because that's important. So you make it work when it's really important to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, with Houston, like, and I'm not saying like you're a bad person for not making it work. It's just like life makes it work. I think if you put your mind towards something, I don't know if this is like manifestation or what it is, but if you're like, oh, this like, for example, my mom always tells me I can't wake up in the morning on the weekends, like especially when I'm back home. But she's like, Sania, you always wake up for your early morning flights.
Yeah.
Like you've never not woken up when you know you have a flight.
Right.
But it's just if we need to wake up to work out, then you'll sleep in.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But if you set your mind to it, like, no, you know what? Houston said we need to talk more. I really want to do this. Like, I really want to be with Houston. If you have that, like, in your mind as, like, the driving force, everything else will fall into place to make it work. Maybe she'll not want so many texts. Maybe you will start texting just a bit more and you'll meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I love, like, how you said that. Like, making it work doesn't mean that you just give them everything that they
absolutely
want.
not.
But, like, coming to a compromise and communicating about that.
Just,
and,
you have the same goals.
Yeah. And, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I would have come clean and said, hey, I'm really struggling with this. Like, how can we meet in the middle?
And it's not just on you, also on her. Like, there has been times where people have wanted to break up with me.
Yeah.
Like, we're not even together, but people have been like, oh, maybe we should stop seeing each other. But I was pretty adamant that I did not want that to happen. And I, like, so even though they're actively trying to be like, yeah, we should probably stop, blah, 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 like, because my mind was oriented and my goal was like, no, I want to stay together. And so I just said things and acted in accordance with that.
Yeah.
And, like, so it is also a little bit on Houston. If she also very much wanted to just be together, so, like, you shouldn't take all the blame. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Both parties do have a say in what happens. And both parties have, like, their share of, like, actions to take to make it the right time.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Ethan's like so deep in thought right now.
Yeah, and like it's still like early in the morning, so I'm like, this is like, I guess we learned I'm also not a morning person.
I finished a whole cup of coffee already.
Nice.
So I'm like awake.
Maybe it's because there is a good story. I don't know. So when we're in this situation, like right person, wrong time, is it like the wrong time that makes them the wrong person? Or is it like when we look back at it later on, we see that this person actually wasn't good for us? Because that has happened for me.
I think, again, there's like, you can tell different stories to yourself to make yourself sleep better at night.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it is easier to just paint them as like, oh, you know what, they had this thing that was bad, they had this thing that was bad. But like, I have never met a single person in my life so far, and maybe that's why I'm still single, that has been like perfect and has no flaws. So I think it's like unfair of me to look back at these potential people that felt right but wrong time and be like, oh, and just focus in on their flaws. So I don't think it's that they weren't the right person.
Okay.
I think the thing that made them not the right person, for me at least, and I don't know if you can agree, is just like that unwillingness to try. Because I would like to be with somebody that tries. Like, life is so difficult. Like, people have so many of their own personal things, and then when you come together, you create brand new issues. Like, and then you have to face like so many different challenges that you've never even thought about that you would have to encounter. And so I think like just them not trying even in this early stage is like, okay, like maybe I shouldn't be with somebody like that.
Yeah. You know, now I'm thinking I've never been in this situation where it's the right person at the wrong time. I think when I look back at people that I wish like something more came out of like our relationship, I think in the end, like it had to happen that way because there was like some kind of deal breaker that I was just blind to. But I just told myself, oh, it's the wrong time. Like there's this like kind of boundary, there's this restriction. I don't know if there's ever been a time where I was like I want to try and then they didn't want to try and
wow. So you only like, I want to make a basketball analogy, but this is going to be so bad.
You try.
You only throw winning shots? Like you said, there's always...
You can only... You miss 100% of the shots you don't take?
No. This is so embarrassing.
Oh, I only make winning shots.
Yeah, you only make winning hoops, shots? I don't know.
No. Okay, like, you said that in the right way, but that is a crazy statement.
Well, because you said, like, you've never had that situation where you wanted to talk to someone and they didn't want to talk to you?
No. I think it's like...
We're so sorry.
When I saw, like, a lot of potential with someone...
Yeah.
Because in the situations that you brought up, right?
Yeah.
One person... It's either, like, you both don't want to try.
Yeah.
Or one person wants to try, the other person doesn't want to try. I don't think I've ever been in a position...
where you want to try and the other person doesn't?
Right.
Okay.
Usually it's like we both don't want to try.
Or the other person does and you maybe don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait,
This might be in the lost episodes archive.
Like with everyone that I've like talked to or been with, it never felt like the reason why it couldn't go further was because the timing was bad or like it was like a situational thing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that there was other reasons. Yeah. I feel like maybe we classified those as something separate than these right people, wrong time. Because I really feel like those wrong time things, like a lot of them, like especially when I was younger, they were so situational. Like, let's say like you get into a relationship with someone and you're like head over heels for them. Like talking about like grade 7, by the way, guys, like very young. But I was like, I'm not in love, but I felt like it was so serious and like everything. And then I moved. I moved from Toronto to Halifax, and like that was bad timing. Because it was like at the peak of things, like we both wanted to be together, but then I moved. So that was another situational thing that's like, you know, it feels like the invisible hand like picking you up and being like, nope, doesn't work.
Like, could I ask, like, when, like, with your first ex, when COVID happened and he moved away, why did you feel like you couldn't try anymore?
So I think for us, it was just a very long relationship. Like I dated the same person for all of undergrad, and undergrad was like 5 years for me because I did co-op and stuff. And we did try. Like I think he went back. He's from Ecuador, so he went back to Ecuador in like September before the school year started or something. And then it was like virtual school, so everything was online. And COVID was like really, really bad. Like his family members got COVID. My grandma was really sick. My mom had to travel to India like peak COVID. And like my parents were fighting because like he really didn't want her to go, but obviously her mom was sick. So there was just like a lot of like tension. And I think that time made me realize, I think in that situation, maybe I was the one that didn't want to try. You know how we said like either both people want to try or one or the other one? Just because of the circumstances, like I needed just like, I was feeling very like overwhelmed with everything. And for some reason, getting on that FaceTime with him was not like my moment of peace. It's not where I found like calm in my body. Like I was just over the edge about my mom. Like I'm very close to my mom and my grandma, so I just like didn't want to talk about it. And whenever we talked, it was always those serious talks, and I just couldn't do it. So I asked him for time, and he's like, yeah, you know what, you can take time. And then like literally my mom came back. It was in the middle of final exams, but I was like starting to feel better. My grandma was okay, and I was like, okay, like, hey, like it took me like a month, but I was like, hey, we could start talking again. Like everything's like, I'm feeling better, blah, blah, blah. And like, that was just not the right time for him because a lot had happened in that month that he wanted to call me about, but I wasn't there for him. So yeah, I just physically couldn't do it. I don't know if you want to call that also external factors, that people were sick and you just had a lot to deal with. But again, I still do truly believe, even if people are sick, whatever's going on, if he was the one I was meant to be with, if he was the right person, I would want to call him and I would feel better talking to him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I have two thoughts. Well, the first one is a question. Do you regret that? Like looking back at what happened, do you regret saying like, hey, I need some space?
No. I actually surprisingly think that was like one of the more mature things that I've done in a relationship.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, I say that I usually go silent, and like I said, there was no problems between us, but this guy, like, it sadly was like a few days before our like 5-year anniversary. And he was like, he wrote me a song once, and he was working on the second song, like to give, because we were virtual, like what kind of gift are you going to give me? So like he was like very much still invested in it. Like he would like literally leave parties, like just to be outside of like the bar, the club, to like just be on the phone with me for a few minutes before I go to sleep. And like, it's not that I didn't love him. Like I still think out of everyone in my life, I loved him the most. Because it was like first love, you know, it's very innocent. There's no bad stuff in it. But what was the question?
Like if you have regrets.
But I don't think I have regrets because I communicated my needs. And I know that, you know, my needs kind of were not the same as his needs. Like he needed me to talk to him that month. Like his mom had COVID, his brother had COVID. And like his mom's like a single mom. So like he really like was worried, and like, you know, Ecuador is also not the best place. Like COVID wasn't being handled well there from what he was telling me. So he really needed me then. So I guess we both just had different needs in that situation. Yeah. And we both had to like, I had to be selfish in that moment and like look after myself.
Yeah. So
no, I don't regret it because I vocalized what I needed.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what I'm realizing is this kind of goes back to what you said in the beginning of this episode, where it's important to think about what makes you happy. And I guess like, is this something that, is this someone who brings you peace and joy?
Yeah.
And it's not going to be like that every day.
Yeah.
But when it becomes like, oh, I repeatedly feel this way.
Yeah.
And like that should be an indicator.
Yeah. And it was like a few months coming. Like, sure, that was like I was looking for a calm in that storm.
Yeah.
And like my dad is really good at this. And I know people say like, you know, girls look for husbands that are like their dads, but I could feel like the whole world is falling apart. But if I get on a call with my dad, he'll just like simplify my life for me. Like I am moving, and like I was just so stressed. I was like, how do I do this? And I'm not strong. I can't lift a bed. Da da da. Like, and my dad's like, Sania, there's like just breathe. Like just call the movers, like pay them, let them do everything. He's like, I'll send you the money for it. Like I'll take care of everything, but just relax. Like it will get done. Like worrying about it is not going to make it any better. It's like he's always been that calm for me. But like my ex, like for months, even before my mom went to India, every time he would call, I would kind of be like annoyed to answer his call. Like, oh, like here we go again. Like, cause I'd have to take time away from studying to do it. Or like, it was just like a lot of different things that, yeah, it just made it feel like it wasn't right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nothing bad happened.
Right.
And I think that's another big thing about the right person, wrong time. Like, we give ourselves that label because it's like, oh, nothing bad happened. Like, if we jump to present day serial dater, when we were talking about the breakup with him, nothing bad happened. He didn't cheat on me. He didn't verbally abuse me or, like, mentally, like, mess me up. Nothing.
Yeah.
It was good. It honestly ended at the peak. It ended when it was all really good. And ended when I was starting to catch myself really falling for him, and I didn't want that to happen unless I knew I had like a secure future. So like, again, I could call him right person, wrong time because nothing bad happened. You know how you said there was deal breakers? There was no deal breaker. There was no horrible big thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes me, in my history, define them as wrong person or wrong time, but right person.
Yeah.
Because there was no personal flaw. Yeah.
So then, yeah, so I think that, like, based on that, maybe I've never, like, felt like I've been with the right person at the wrong time. Just because it...
And
like,
I never hope you have to.
And just to, like, help all of us here who are listening, how did you actually end up moving on in these situations?
Well, Ethan, it was your amazing quote that they were just not the right person. So you have to really, like... It's really easy to, like, you know, romanticize your, like, life, especially stuff that has happened in the past. Like, I always... I haven't put these on in a while.
Here we go.
I always have my rose-tinted glasses on when I'm looking at the past, especially.
Yeah.
But I think it's just important to, you know, like, take off those glasses and be like, but were they the right person? Like, there was a reason that that situation could not work. Yeah. Even though it was not a horrible, big reason, like... Whether it's COVID, me moving away, like for school, like whatever it is, like there was a reason. There was either lack of effort, maybe lack of commitment. That's what happened with Toe. He just didn't want to be committed when I was like far away. And that's a bad thing. Like you can't go 4 months without talking to somebody else while I'm away. Like that's really disrespectful considering how much feelings I thought we both had for each other, you know? Or, like serial dater, like, you know, maybe cultural differences that we had, but like that makes him the wrong person then, you know? If he wants to live together and move in and get married in like 5 to 10 years, like that's a cultural difference. Like I don't have that same mindset. So I can't say, oh, that's like bad timing. Like that's like a, you know, like that invisible hand taking him away from me because like he doesn't want to be married when I want to be married. But it's like, no, that's him deciding. That's what he wants. We're just different.
But those are like personal factors that made it not work.
Exactly. Right? And that's what you have to look back at. Like you have to look back and like think about those personal factors instead of saying like, oh, it's just the wrong timing. Like that's how you get over them.
So then maybe I have been in this situation where, because that's exactly what I did. Like,
yeah.
So okay, and maybe I did that to a point where I was like confused if it's like wrong timing or personal factors.
No, it had like you have to look back. It is at the crux. It is a personal factor.
Yeah.
The person not trying enough is a personal factor.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'm being really unclear. Like
no.
That coffee's going.
I think I'm just confused. I don't.
Guys,
really...
next week Ethan's gonna have 2 cups of coffee and I will have 0, and we will be on the same page.
Well, I think you're just not used to me being confused. But you're teaching me a lot.
Yeah?
I think.
I feel like I'm going around in circles. That's why I'm like, shoot, like, no?
No, I don't think so.
But yeah, to basically conclude what we're trying to say for Ethan, in the moment when you're living through it, it feels like right person, wrong timing. Because it feels like the reason you can't be together is external to you.
Yeah.
It's nothing in your relationship. There's no bad blood. There's no shadiness. There's no lies. Like nothing like that. But then once you get out of it and you look back at it, when you reflect and when you're trying to move on from it, and I'm not saying to focus on the negatives of that person. No, that person was still good. My ex was still a really good boyfriend. Really, really good. Serial dater was really good. But the reason we could not be together was because there was not enough effort, not enough commitment.
Yeah.
You know, not enough. Yeah, it just didn't feel peaceful. It didn't feel good.
I understand. So what's happening is they're actually coming together. The personal character and like their quality, and then also the bad timing.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, it's not like they had a deal breaker.
They did not, yeah.
But their personality, their character made it so that it was the wrong time.
Yeah.
So
or my own personality and my character. Like just
Yeah. And so like for serial dater, having those values of wanting to get married way down the line, and then also like live together before you got married, that didn't mean like he like truly believes that, but in this moment, like that's what he thought he wanted.
And that doesn't mean he's a bad person and I'm not a bad person for wanting the opposite.
Yeah. So like in this period while he wants that, he's the wrong person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, guys, thanks for coming on this roller coaster episode with us.
Yeah. Wow.
Our end segment's going to be a lot more clear and to the point.
Yeah, let's make that our goal. I don't know how you can guarantee that.
No, I can guarantee it. Don't worry. This coffee's got me going.
Okay, let's do it. So we're going to get into another toxicology report.
I love these.
And, nice. I love them too. And so we have 3 situations today. The first one is when they tell you about other people that have asked them out. And this, let's say like they're doing this like either like your friends or you're in the talking stage.
Wait, if you're friends, why does it matter if they're telling you about people that have asked them out?
Because
you're my friend, you should hear that. You mean in the talking stage, or if they're boyfriend, girlfriend?
So like I've been in a situation where it's like we're friends, but I want something more, right? And I feel like
let's take the friends one out of there.
Okay. Okay, you're in the talking stage.
Talking stage or in a relationship and you're doing this. Okay. So toxic rating out of 10. 10 being the most toxic.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. I don't know.
Okay.
7 or 8?
Sania's at
7.
You can be 7.5.
Yeah, let's say 7.5.
Okay, I'm at a 9.
Okay.
Wait, tell us why you're at 7.5.
Typically, and this is maybe a little toxic of me, I think it's like I get flattered, like, oh, like that girl, like you were out with your friends and that girl tried to talk to you, like, like damn, I have like a hot guy, like, so I'm kind of flattered.
Yeah.
That's why it's not a 10.
Yeah.
And then also why it's not a 10 is because like I'm glad you told me. For me, it builds like a sense of trust, like you're not trying to hide this from me.
Yeah.
So like, you know, because it's like something, usually people, it's like, you could get in trouble for it. Because then some girls could react and be like, oh, like, why are you like, why does this girl feel comfortable enough to come up to you?
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe I'm going to knock it down to a 6. I think it's like a 6. For those 2 reasons. So I started with a 10 because it is pretty toxic. It'll make, in some relationships, it can make the other person feel insecure.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is the intention you have for doing this? Are you trying to make them treat you better through this like toxic route of telling them, well, all these other people could have me, you better treat me better?
Yeah.
Or is it just like, oh, honesty and transparency and like,
Yeah, so I think like the way you go about it determines how toxic it is.
Yeah, definitely.
If that person is going out of their way and they're initiating this conversation and bringing it up, okay, that's toxic. That's why I was at a 9. But then if this is just coming up in conversation, like you guys are talking about your past, and maybe you were the one who asked them about like what their past was like, and this came up, I don't think that's toxic. That's
Wait, can I ask you like a real life scenario?
Yeah.
So let's say you're dating a girl, and like let's say she has a bunch of like fans on her Instagram, like people constantly sliding into her DMs.
Yeah.
And if you guys are just hanging out watching TV and she gets like a DM because she posted a story that day, her showing it to you, is that toxic? Because she's not showing it to you with the intent. And okay, I will take responsibility. I have shown it to my ex in the past, like in a way to be like, okay, like to shake things up and be like, all right, treat me better.
Oh.
There's other people.
Yeah.
But I didn't say anything like that. It was just like, oh my gosh, like look at this guy. He won't stop DMing me.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like we're laughing at these DMs together. Or we're like, oh, let's block this one together. Yeah, is that toxic?
So I think it depends on two things, like your intention, but then also how secure your boyfriend is.
Yeah.
So if you're doing it with like a good intention to like just have everything out on the table so that he knows like what's going on and like he's never caught off guard that like there's people are like,
and so like
out.
if we're out and about and this person comes and says hello, like he knows like oh, I'm creeped out from them, like yeah. So I think that's good, but maybe that wasn't necessarily your intention. Sometimes it kind of like fluctuates between both.
For sure. Of course it does. Like we all have that desire to like get that validation. But then the other thing is, if you know that your boyfriend or girlfriend is insecure and they won't be able to handle it well or take it well, then like you're definitely being toxic. Even with the best intentions, you have to like they have to be secure enough to be able to see it and deal with it well. And if they are very insecure, and even if you have good intentions, you want to let them know what's going on, and they're not able to handle it, that's another conversation you need to have with them and say, hey, this is part of my lifestyle. This is who I am. I'm on social media and like people are going to be reaching out. If you're not okay with that, then like, is this something that we should be pursuing?
Yeah, right. Very good.
Okay. Next one, when they don't post you on social media.
Okay.
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 Count us off.
3, 2, 1.
Oh wow! Is this the first time
your eights like that?
Because
it's triggering.
No, because
1, 2, 3.
Everyone knows, guys. When they do 3, they do it like this.
I'm gonna pull the like.
This is like an Instagram thing. It's on TikTok.
I am pulling my friends.
Do it. But guys, like they always do 3 like this, and then for some reason girls do it like this. So this one feels bad.
This one like my hands are stiff.
This one you're holding your pinky hostage. This is not good.
Okay.
This one's like. It just feels better.
So we're both at an 8.
Yeah.
I honestly want to start by saying I don't care if I'm posted on social media or not.
Oh, that's very good.
Like, I think our relationship is for us. I don't need to be posted.
Yeah.
But I also think it could be shady. If you are somebody that uses social media, then you should kind of let people know that you are taken. Yeah. You shouldn't keep behaving as though you are single, because that sends the wrong message. Yeah. Like if you're really active on social media, like Serial Dater, like had a lot of followers and a lot of them were girls, like, so maybe he should let people know. But for example, my first ex, like we were together for like I said, 5 years, and I was never ever posted. And like it used to bother me because he was always all over my Instagram. And I think it bothered me even more because literally the moment we broke up that summer, man, one selfie after another with different girls all summer long. So that made me like really feel insecure and feel like, oh my gosh, maybe he was trying to hide me. Maybe he was like embarrassed of me. Like, so I think that starts to get bad, and that's why it's like so high at an 8. Because I mean, I don't consider myself to be an insecure person, but that definitely brought up insecurities in me. And like, why would you do that to someone? If either you never post stories, then just don't ever post them. But if you're gonna post some people and not other people, that is extremely toxic.
So originally I wanted to like give it 10. But then I realized that I have friends who have never posted their partner until like recently.
Until they get married.
Yeah, like even
Yeah.
something like that. And so there's a difference between someone like just being more private on social media and not being that active, and then also, or like playing games.
Yeah.
But I do think that overall it's important to like let people know that you're in a relationship, whether that's like social media or in person.
Yeah.
Because I've also like seen when people like they never mention their boyfriend.
Yeah.
So then other guys like think that they have a chance or something, and I don't. Probably like that girl didn't have bad intentions. She
Yeah.
just probably didn't feel like talking about her boyfriend. But I think when you're in a relationship, if you like them and you see something with them, you should be talking about them
Yeah.
naturally, and it should come up like,
Oh yeah, when me and my boyfriend did this. Oh, I
Exactly.
tried this restaurant with my boyfriend. We should go. Like,
yeah. And if you're active on social media, that should come through there
Yeah.
too. So that's why I give it an 8. Like to like give some leeway for people who are more private,
Yeah.
but then for others, like it should be like a part of your life if you like them. And then that also like keeps other people out of the way. Like
Yeah.
they don't get the wrong idea. They don't try to make moves that you don't want.
For some reason, I will just add, Ethan, I feel like guys want girls that are in relationships more, but that's like a whole nother topic that we don't have to get
Oh yeah.
into.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
That's true?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to disagree and we were going to be like, all right.
Wait, you.
Well, I said it because I experienced it, but I didn't know that it's like so...
Yeah, but you know that I've experienced it too.
Okay, let's talk about this
Okay.
in another episode.
Yeah.
Okay, the very last one.
Uh-huh.
When somebody doesn't say thank you to their wait staff.
Yeah.
How toxic is it?
Yeah.
Think this one, hopefully it's... Okay. 3, are you ready?
Yeah.
2, 1.
Okay, so hear me out. I'm gonna go first. So I said a 6, and like this has happened when I've gone on dates with girls, and I can't tell like if they're not appreciative or if they like are spoiled.
Or... Because those are both bad things, that they're not appreciative and they're spoiled.
But like this happened yesterday.
Uh-huh.
So I don't think like she is toxic, but
Well, did you already say thank you? Because
yeah, I already said thank you. But
Okay.
But I always like I say thank you for like everything. They
Everything.
pour me water. I say
say
thank you.
thank you, yeah,
But like
same.
they pour her water, nothing.
Some people could be shy, so I
Yeah.
could bump it down to like a 9.
Okay.
I have to hold my pinky hostage.
Like
I can't.
I don't know. This one really confuses me. So I'm like,
Do they say thank you?
maybe they're not socially aware.
I don't think it has to be that deep. We can take a step back.
Okay.
Sometimes like you just forget, or maybe you're in the middle of a conversation and you just like, you don't want to awkwardly be like, oh, thank you. Like, and some people are they saying thank you for other stuff? Like, let's say if you're opening the door, or like, because sometimes, remember we talked, I think, in our episode, Where to Go on a First Date. What episode was this again?
Where to Go on a First Date, episode 8.
Okay, we talked about this there, that I never knew you're supposed to say thank you for dinner.
Oh yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
just because like I always just smile, or I'll text them after and be like, oh, this was really fun. But like to actually just say, because I don't know, I feel awkward, and the whole topic surrounding money. So when they're paying for the food, for me to say thank you, it just feels weird. So maybe she just doesn't know.
Yeah.
And it's not that she wasn't raised right or like anything. It doesn't have to be any deeper than that.
Yeah. I think especially like when, or like for me, like growing up Asian, like it's not like natural for me to like give words of affirmation.
Oh yeah.
But then I realized that this is something that I really appreciate
Yeah.
when it's given to me. So I'm gonna do my best to like make people feel appreciated.
Yeah.
But I think for some people it just doesn't come as natural.
Yeah.
So maybe we can meet in the middle. Because
Yeah.
I do think overall, like if you are aware, it is toxic.
I put it pretty high for guys, because I think guys in general, from my experience, tend to be a little bit more like colder and like
Yeah.
fewer words of affirmation.
Yeah.
And so, and they're like, their tone is usually, not that it's disrespectful, but it's usually less friendly and stuff. So if they're not saying thank you, or if they're not making eye contact with the wait staff when they're coming, if they're just pretending like they're not even there, or they're not people, I think that's really, really, really bad.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
like my dad always taught me you have to respect like, you know, the person who comes and collects. We have people that come in and collect trash from our houses in India. Like you have to treat him with the same respect that you treat like the CEO of a company. If there's a difference in how you treat them, that's your fault. Like you have something wrong with you. So I do think that's why I put it super, super high, because I think like if you're gonna, so that's why I told you about your date yesterday.
Yeah.
If she says thank you to everyone and just not to wait staff, that's really, really, really bad. But if she like just in general is like a little like shy about saying thank you about everything, like that's okay. Like she'll work on it.
Yeah, I need to like do some more investigating.
Yeah.
But your dad is super solid. Like that's how you really tell if someone has integrity, not by the way that they treat people who are at their level or higher,
Or who they can get something from.
yeah, but people who like, I don't know, socioeconomically
People
are,
that they're just not getting anything from. It's not that kind of relationship
Yeah.
to take.
yeah,
Yeah.
Look at how they treat them. Yeah, and that'll tell you a lot. Okay. Well, what a ride.
Yeah, and guys, we concluded what the episode's conclusion was right at the beginning. So
Yeah.
if you stayed to watch, like, thank you, but you chose to be here.
That's true. That's true. So thanks for tuning in. Go New York Abalone, and we'll catch you guys next time.